welcome here to the Champions League right here on Talk FCB, and in today's video we are going to be going over all of the action from game week 1, and it's exciting stuff, isn't it? The very first game of the group stages, and it's just exciting to be back in the Champions League action now, looking at the goals on display, looking at the young exciting talents who are trying to break through in the Champions League this season, and certainly across all of these 16 games there's some crackers, and as always in the Champions League there's a few shocks along the way too. In those 16 games we have today 45 goals to discuss. That there averages 2.8 goals per game, with one of these fixtures returning an incredible 8 goals. 8 goals there in one game, and of course there's another game which we would have seen that returned absolutely none. But still, it's all to play for, it's all there to discuss. Coming right up, it's the Champions League Game Week 1 review. And if we start straight away in alphabetical order here and start with Group A, and the early kick-off in that one was between Club Brugge and Galatasaray, and there was 2 0-0 draws across Game Week 1, and this right here, straight off the bat, is one of those. Let's get this one straight out the way. In this game here, only 3 shots on target between the two teams. I think, to be honest, at the end of the day, both of them there will be happy to take a point. Club Brugge 0, Galatasaray 0. But of course, it was the other game there in Group A that really did capture the imagination. Paris Saint-Germain at the Parc des Princes against Real Madrid. And it has to be said though, the two teams there was injury. For PSG, there was no Neymar Jr., no Kylian Mbappe, even no Edinson Cavani. They're missing there effectively their entire front three. And Real Madrid too have got big injury problems. But right here and now, there was only one winner. There was only one winner. Paris Saint-Germain dominated Real Madrid territorially. They had more intensity in the game, they had a lot more confidence, and they were brilliant in front of goal, with Angel Di Maria scoring twice on night. One of them absolutely brilliant strike there from outside the area. And Di Maria can do that. He's not always incredibly consistent, but he does have games like the in the Champions League where he comes alive, and that was the case last night. Real Madrid was second best. I thought Courtois once again, especially when you consider Courtois there up against his counterpart in the PSG goal, Keylor Navas. Real Madrid there, putting their faith in Courtois. He's beaten at his near post for Di Maria's opener. It was a poor night for him, a poor night for Real, with Meunier scoring the third goal. PSG 3, Real Madrid 0. And we move on now to Group B, which saw Olympiacos against Tottenham in the earlier kick-off yesterday, and certainly this one was a big shock. It didn't look to be going to plan. Tottenham came into this game very strong lineup there from Mauricio Pochettino, Lucas Moura starting there for Tottenham, and certainly they got off to quite a decent start. They scored a penalty there to Harry Kane, and then Lucas Moura later had a really good goal just outside the area, smashed it past the goalkeeper, and Tottenham there with 2-0 to the good. But at the same time yesterday, you never really got the feeling that Tottenham were playing fantastically well. They were sort of coasting through the game, weren't really putting too much into it, maybe even saving themselves there for the weekend Premier League fixture. But then Olympiacos, they sent something. They got a goal back really key there just before half-time. It was Podence there who gets the goal back before half-time, 2-1, and then Olympiacos in the second half, they were brilliant. The crowd are behind them, phenomenal atmosphere there in Greece, and certainly they got the goal they deserve. Mathieu Valbuena scored from the spot there past Hugo Lloris's countryman, and he was brilliant on the night there, Valbuena, for Olympiacos, and it was very much there. A point well deserved. Tottenham, sluggish, poor, and Pochettino said after the game, we simply didn't want it enough. In the other game there, in Group B, the favourites certainly now to win this group, it has to be said, even after one game. Bayern Munich they're cruising past Zvezda 3-0 on the night, and certainly it was a good performance. It wasn't anything incredible from Bayern, but maybe on the day it didn't have to be, of course. Against Zvezda, they were very much favourites in this game. Coutinho started the game and had a goal, disallowed it. It was a really nice goal too. It was a nice build-up from Bayern into the area. Coutinho there with a back-heeled finish. It went in, but it was ruled out there for offside. But it was a good performance overall from Bayern. Kingsley Coman opening the scoring. It was quite a slow first half. They got a bit of time to get going there. In the second half though, 2 goals there in the final 10 minutes. One for Lewandowski and one for the sub Thomas Müller. Gave Bayern a very comfortable victory. And certainly, like I say, with Tottenham dropping points, Bayern, big favourites now to top the group. Now on then to Group C, and we do kick off here with what was, I feel, a big shock of the night. Even not only in the victory, but the margin of victory for Dinamo Zagreb against Atalanta. Atalanta, of course, appearing in the Champions League this season for the first time. They're so happy to be here, but it was a bad start for them on the night. And Dinamo Zagreb were outstanding. Really impressive. They've got several really exciting young players. I really do like the look of Dani Olmo. Fantastic player. He was at Barcelona youth setup for a while. He left there to go to Dinamo Zagreb. He's been there now for a number of years, and he was really, really impressive. Fantastic play in the opening exchange there for the first goal, but it was a really, really fantastic night for Orsic. Absolutely incredible. He was one of the 2 players in game week 1 who got himself a hat-trick, and Dinamo Zagreb, 4-0, that didn't flatter them, so much confidence, and who knows here, they could be a real surprise here to get out of the group. Then on to Shakhtar against Manchester City. The 2 teams seem to meet in every single Champions League campaign, but for Man City, after their shock defeat to Norwich, they got back here to winning ways under Pep Guardiola, of course. Riyad Mahrez opening the scoring. He was put into the starting lineup and very much justified. Gundogan there with the assist, and then for the second goal, it was roles reversed. It was Gundogan who got into a really good area. Mahrez plays the ball in, and a good finish there from Ilkay Gundogan for Gabriel Jesus, who was starting there ahead of Sergio Aguero on the night. He got the third of Man City, who never really had to leave sort of second or third gear. It was a comfortable game, a comfortable win, and as we saw when the groups came out, they're massive, massive favourites here to top the group and pretty much cruise through in these opening exchanges. Now on then to Group D, and like I say, this also was one of the big matches from the Champions League game week 1. Atletico Madrid at the Wanda Metropolitano against Juventus, and it was a really, really exciting game. There was so much emotion, so much passion there from the Atletico Madrid crowd, and Juve, I think, really struggled in that first half to get in the game. This was one where they were sort of sitting back, they were trying to absorb the pressure, play on the counter-attack, but Atletico Madrid in that first half I thought were really, really good. They put some nice play down the wings. I thought Trippier settled in really nicely at Atletico, and Juventus struggled to get going, and that was why for me it was a massive surprise. And in the second half, things changed so quickly. Cuadrado scored an absolutely wonderful goal. It truly was. Stunning strike there on his left foot across Jan Oblak, who didn't even move. Wonderful strike from Cuadrado. Ronaldo was very, very quiet on the night, didn't really have a lot of chances at all. He was getting quite frustrated actually with a number of his teammates for not passing in the ball, not squaring it a few times. Higuain, certainly one of those guilty of that. Matuidi, though, made it 2-0 Juventus. Again, it was a counter-attack. It was a break-up play. Juventus, Alexander out wide, puts it in. Matuidi gets between the 2 centre-backs. Good goal there, a header. And certainly then you thought Juve are going to get a massive, massive 3 points. But that's the thing right now. With Juventus, with Matthias de Ligt, of course, coming in, I still don't feel right now like they're actually the Juventus of old. Like they're a team who are going to be very, very resolute, very solid, and they're not going to concede goals. Right now, Juventus, to me, do look susceptible for set plays. They look vulnerable in the air at times, which I think you never usually say that about Juventus. But certainly yesterday, they got bullied at times by Atletico Madrid from set pieces. It was a free kick that got them back in the game, put into the box. Jimenez nods it over. Savic getting onto it. He gets one back, and then Atletico Madrid in the 90th minute. It's the sub Herrera who comes on from the corner kick. Jimenez again goes up for it. He doesn't quite get a touch on it. Herrera is the man that does, and Atletico Madrid come from 2-0 down to draw this game 2-2, and a big point for them. Simeone, so animated, so passionate there with the equalising goal, and certainly Atletico Madrid very much deserve that. Juventus do certainly look shaky defensively. That's not something they will enjoy. They got 2 goals against the run of play, but Atletico certainly well deserving here of that point. And also there in Group D, it was Bayer Leverkusen in action there against Lokomotiv Moscow, and Bayer Leverkusen going into that game was real focused. They've got some really exciting young players, but right now they're not playing so well. They really aren't. They got hammered by Dortmund at the weekend, and here and now a shock result: Lokomotiv Moscow 2, Bayer Leverkusen 1. It was a Hervedez own goal that got the goal for Bayer Leverkusen, but Krychowiak and Barinov give Lokomotiv Moscow a massive away 3 points. Again, a team that don't usually travel so well. A big 3 points there that could make it interesting in Group D. And if we move on now to Group E, where I felt one of the big shocks here of game week 1 came Napoli against Liverpool, and it was almost a direct repeat of what we saw last season in the group stage, because once again Liverpool failed to win. Napoli there 2-0 on the night. It was Mertens who got them off the mark 8 minutes from time from the penalty spot. It was a foul on Callejon by Robertson. I think it was debatable. I really do. I think it was very harsh in many ways. There was a bit of contact, very small. VAR gave the penalty though. Mertens stuck it away, and then in the 92nd minute, Fernando Llorente coming on his first ever Napoli goal. And certainly on the night, Napoli will feel that's 3 massive points for them. And for Liverpool, it's more disappointment away from home. Because obviously last season they did lose to Napoli. They also lost, of course, to Crvena Zvezda in the group stage. But at the same time, they went on to win the Champions League. Why was that then? Because Liverpool, for me, do seem away from home like they are certainly vulnerable at times. And what saves them, what really bails them out, is that home form. When you go to Anfield, just like Barcelona saw last season, it's a very very, very difficult place to go. They thrive on that confidence. They believe anything is possible at Anfield. And that's a simple thing. Liverpool away from home are certainly vulnerable. I think this season they're certainly conceding more goals than they were doing last season. Whether that's because Alisson is out injured right now, that may be the case. Adrian has come in. He's not quite the same calibre, of course, and they are conceding more goals. They are worse defensively than they were at this stage last season. But at the same time, it's a long season. Losing in the first game week, it's not the end of the world for Liverpool, but still, that away form, teams will play on that. And if you can go to Anfield and get a result, Liverpool could be there for the taking. It was the other game, though, in Group E, which really did set game week 1 alight, as Red Bull Salzburg beat Genk by 6 goals. Yes, 6 goals to 2. There was 8 goals in this game, and it was absolutely mental. But I have to talk about one man, and that young man is this 19-year-old Norwegian striker, 6'4" tall. It's Haaland, an absolutely massive star in the game. He's up and coming, really, really exciting young talent. He got his Champions League hat-trick here, and it was so well taken. You look at the goals, you look at the calmness, the composure in his finishing. He got in all the right places. He stayed cool, calm under pressure, and look at those celebrations. Look what it means to him. He knows this is massive. RB Salzburg are a huge club, of course, in Austria, and certainly you've got a path there to the big time. You really, really have, because if you perform there, if you do well there, of course, there's a very, very easy link to go straight to the Bundesliga with RB Leipzig, and of course, there's many clubs now right across the world, right across Europe, who are looking at this young striker, and he did his reputation absolutely no harm in this game, and it was a really, really exciting performance there from RB Salzburg, who come into the Champions League. They're allowed to play, of course, in the same competition as RB Leipzig, two of them together, and both of them got the win on Tuesday night, and certainly they very much deserved it, and they find themselves right now on goal difference at least, top of the group. And as we move now on to Group F, where Inter Milan were held by Slavia Prague there at San Siro. A big, big result there in Group F in terms of Dortmund and Barcelona. They'll be very, very happy to know that Inter are dropping points there. Certainly at home against Slavia Prague, you would have expected Inter to have won that game. But in theory, they're actually pretty lucky to have drawn that game at all, because Slavia Prague took the lead. They were very, very strong. They were very confident as well, and they looked very organised as well in the defensive third. Inter couldn't break them down. The fans were getting frustrated. They couldn't really get any openings at all. They only got their equaliser in the 92nd minute through Barella, and luckily they came away with a point. But like I say, big drop points there early on. Pressure is on Inter. In the other game, of course, in Group F, it was Barcelona 0, Borussia Dortmund 0, live from Signal Iduna Park on Tuesday evening. And Dortmund certainly in the second half came into the game. They had a penalty, of course, through Marco Reus, phenomenally saved by Marc-Andre ter Stegen, who was the hero on the night for Barcelona, who had young Ansu Fati making his appearance and becoming the youngest ever Barcelona player in the Champions League. And although Barcelona did dominate the ball right the way through the first half, they did have control of the game. They did struggle to create chances, of course, on the night without Messi. Griezmann was out on the left-hand side, Suarez there playing as the forward, and Alba getting injured there in the first half really did change the game, and Dortmund really came into it there and probably be unhappy here to come away with just the point. Dortmund 0, Barca 0. On to Group G with Lyon and Zenit there taking part in the early kick-off, and it was Memphis Depay there who scored from the spot and put in a very, very good performance as well to cancel out Azmoun's opener there for Zenit, who usually away from home don't usually pick up all that many points. They do rely on their home form in Russia to get the points of the Champions League and the Europa League, but certainly here, Lyon, Zenit, I think they probably would be happy with the point apiece. Lyon were trying to go for the win. They were up against it, they went behind, they came back into the game, but overall 1-1 there in Group G. And in the second game, it was Benfica 1, RB Leipzig 2, and I do want to talk here about RB Leipzig because of course the big win for them. They went 2-0 up in this game, both of those goals coming from their fantastic centre forward Timo Werner, who's such an exciting player, a real goal scorer, fantastic finishes once again, particularly in the first goal, very nicely struck. Because I actually think here RB Leipzig are going under the radar quite a bit so far this season. They've had a brilliant start of the season in the Bundesliga. They're currently top. They drew with Bayern in the weekend just gone. They've looked really good in the Bundesliga so far. They're unbeaten, and of course they're coached by none other than Julian Nagelsmann, who for me is one of the most exciting young coaches in the game today, and certainly in the Champions League. You look at that group there, this is a group that RB Leipzig will feel like they can definitely win, they can definitely get out of. They got some really good players. Konate, the centre-back, a really young, exciting French centre-back. How many good centre-backs, how much depth do France have there in that position? So good. And right across the field, they've got really exciting players. They can get out of this group. They're doing really well in the league. They've got a very good coach. I think RB Leipzig here, certainly this season, one of the teams to watch. And finally then, last but not least, it is Group H here with Ajax taking to the field against Lille, of course the Champions League semi-finalists last season, and this for me was a really important game for Ajax. Of course last season they were brilliant in the Champions League, they looked so at home there, all of their players coming together under their coach of course Ten Hag, they were outstanding, but at the same time, losing Frenkie de Jong, losing Matthias de Ligt, you didn't really know how they were going to react to that, how they'd adapt this season in the Champions League, but they got off to the best possible start here. At home against Lille, it is the easiest game they're going to face in this group stage so far, but it was very well executed. Their new signing Quincy Promes, who I think could be a big season there for him at Ajax, he opened the scoring, and it was another new signing as well, Alvarez, who's a defender, but he's been really impressive so far for Ajax. He got the second goal before Tagliafico scored the third goal, putting it home from a Ziyech corner. And I think Ziyech, he was such an important player to hold on over the summer. They lost de Jong, they lost de Ligt. Of course there was many players who was rumoured to be leaving, but Ziyech stayed, and he's going to be a massive player once again this season in the Champions League for Ajax. A 3-0 win and a great start for them. I'm really happy for them. And the final game there in Group H between Chelsea and Valencia at Stamford Bridge. And I have to say, I was so surprised to actually see Valencia win this. They won it, of course, 1-0 on the night. It was Rodrigo Moreno who got the goal for Valencia, but I was so surprised simply because right now, Valencia are in turmoil. Before this game, not one of their players turned up there for the pre-match press conference. The club, as a result of that, were fined. You have to have somebody turn up and speak to the media from the players' side, but nobody came. And the reason they said that nobody came, and Danny Pereira, the captain, came out and said, look, until we have it explained to us by our superiors why Marcelino is sacked, we will not speak to the media. And that was a massive message there right before this game, and it looked to me, Valencia are in turmoil. But on the night, they came together, they were organised, they were really clever through their set pieces. That's where their goal came from. A nice little free kick there into Rodrigo. It's a bit of a scuff finish. He just about gets enough on it, and it goes into the Chelsea net. And in that moment, Valencia were happy with what they have. They were going to hold on to that, and they were going to try and leave here with 3 points. But ultimately, it shouldn't have happened. Chelsea had a penalty. They should have put that away. They should have got at least a point here. But no. Ross Barkley there, snatching the ball away from Jorginho. Why anybody does that, I don't understand. I don't understand why players do that. You have a designated penalty taker. You have players who are there to take those spot kicks. And when you grab the ball off them, when you take it off, and you see it more and more now, you're putting so much pressure on yourself. Ross Barkley there, stealing the ball, saying, I want to take this, I want to take this. And especially with VAR these days, it takes so long to actually take the penalty. By the time you're coming out to take that penalty, there's enormous pressure, enormous expectation on your shoulders. And clearly there, Barkley buckling under the pressure, putting his penalty clean over the crossbar. A big loss there for Chelsea at home. They've got work to do in this group with Ajax and Valencia starting well. And so that there, guys, is my thoughts across game week 1 in the Champions League. And of course, please do let me know if you did enjoy this type of video. Of course, if you did, if it's something you'd like to see, I'll certainly try and do it for every game week, maybe something like that. But of course, let me know. Maybe you won't like it, maybe you will. We'll have to wait and see what you decide. But that there is what happened in the Champions League. Many goals scored, many games won, and a few shocks along the way too. There's plenty to come. The Champions League is just getting started, and we're going to be right here for it all. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for getting involved. And until next time, as always, it's the Champions League.